I'm delighted to be joined here again by Celestica. The partnership between EPS Global and Celestica is one that we're very excited about. We're going to build on the previous interviews that we did with Don and Matt, and we're delighted today to be joined by Devann, who leads the Portfolio Systems Group. So welcome, Devann, if you want to talk a little bit about what you do for the group.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for having us. So our Portfolio Solutions organization started in North America about a year ago. And this year we're expanding globally to bring our hardware solutions to market to help customers move into the journey with open source solutions. So we're continuing to expand our team, looking forward to being a part of that customer's journey and simplifying the solutions in this very complex world of AI and open source.
Okay, great. And what are the key priorities for the group heading into the next year?
Heading into the next year, we're looking at ensuring that we're building upon our portfolio. So we're not just a hardware company, but looking at integrating engineering services, technical services, and understanding how our partners can help play a big role in that. Okay,
great. Thanks, Devann. In our first episode, Don highlighted a key win in the financial service industry, and it was actually here in the New England area. Could you give us an update on your progress in that vertical? And are you seeing demand for low latency, high performance solutions in other industries?
So we are seeing success with the financial market. We started with one customer and essentially tried to rinse and repeat and understand the success we had, and we are seeing success. We've got several POCs underway.
I think you're seeing it not just on switches, but you're seeing it on storage.
Yep.
You're seeing our partners, integrating total turnkey solutions that include everything that we have. So.
Yep.
So it's not just a product kind of, before it was a product kind of discussion.
Yeah.
Now it's a solution discussion,
yeah,
which is what they really want to see as customers.
Yeah, and I see that as being some of the value that we as EPS can bring as well. And
yeah.
I think there's a value to also bringing in products that are not manufactured by Celestica, but that are part of that overall solution, again, to offer that experience to the customer of out of the box, all of this working together. I want to shift a little bit then to AI. We all talk. Every conversation has to have a mention of AI, right? So we're definitely going to talk about it. And we touched on AI in both of our previous conversations. From a hardware perspective, what specific demands are the new neo-cloud companies placing on network and storage infrastructure that traditional setups just can't handle?
So a couple of areas to that question. Certainly the one obvious one that everybody talks about is speed, performance, and scale, right? So, if you look at our business, within the portfolio solutions, the vertical market that's, consuming the largest amount of 50 terabit switch platforms, are the neoclouds. So there's an obvious hardware piece to that. From a storage perspective, those types of operators are also looking for the latest and greatest storage performance, PCI Gen 6 and future Gen 7. So they definitely push for that. But there's also, another angle or another aspect beyond just the speeds and feeds, and that's around how do you provide, in the networking space, how do you provide a lossless infrastructure similar to what kind of made InfiniBand so widely deployed, and with Ethernet now, if you look at the market analysts, they're now saying that Ethernet has surpassed InfiniBand in terms of shipments and revenue. Ethernet's clearly the go forward path, but there's specific technologies that need to be implemented in Ethernet, things like Rocky V2 and advanced flow control and quality of service capabilities. Some of which have existed, but some of which are still being worked.
Matt, when we spoke previously, you used a great phrase, and it's one that we've sort of integrated into a lot of our discussions, and it was that you can network like a hyperscaler. So for an enterprise that's just beginning its open networking journey, what does that look like?
So there's two ways that I think about that phrase, and it was actually one of our partners that coined it, but we sort of repurposed it.
I think I know that partner because I said it to them. He said, "Hey, that's mine."
Yes, absolutely.
But that's okay.
So one way you can back up. So certainly there's some customers are choosing open, non-legacy networking solutions as an example, or storage for that matter, where they may want to use their own network operating system. They may want to write their own. They may have a third party that they want to use, and they may come to us for something as simple as just a white box piece of networking. There are some customers that maybe want a hybrid of that, or there's some customers that want a turnkey solution. So, to me, underlying all of that is just flexibility and choice. Yeah. We can provide a full up turnkey solution. We can provide you just a bare metal box, if you will, yeah. Or something in between. So that's one piece. The other piece that I like when I'm talking to customers is you can network like a hyperscaler, meaning you have access to products that are developed by the same, absolutely industry-leading hardware and software teams. You can get that latest technology. You can get all of the quality. You can get all of the manufacturing and logistics, which is why hyperscalers are selecting us, yeah. In that lead spot. You as a smaller tier enterprise or ISP, you have access to all of that through Celestica and through partners.
Yeah, and I think that's a really key message, because I still feel that there's a job to do in the open networking space in convincing customers that we're not asking them to be a guinea pig, that this is unproven technology that they have to mess around with. The hyperscalers are using them. The apps that we're all using on our phones every day, that's the technology behind that. And it's getting that message across. This is the best gear out there, and we can help you adopt it and make it simpler.
Yeah, and Alan, we've had customers that have started, with very ambitious goals. They want to do, they just want us to be a hardware supplier. They want to do, their own network operating system, their own testing, their own containerized applications. And we've had a number of customers that started down that path and then realized, hey, there's a little more to it than we thought. Yeah. Help us figure out how to, maintain some of those key principles, but not having, the customer's team be the full engineering team. So we get a number of different ways that we can support that.
Yeah. And then, for us on the logistics side then as well, after the engineering done, the actual delivery of the product and the putting it together and the packaging of it and all the rest, we can make that piece easier for them as well. And beyond networking, how is the AI boom influencing your storage portfolio strategy? Are you seeing new customer demands for architectures like GPU direct storage or other innovations?
I can take a shot at that. So, a lot of the storage platform we have today and in the industry, a lot of the pieces are pretty standard building blocks. JBODs, JBOFs, storage servers, storage controllers. So, we have those technologies deployed in AI inferencing, as an example, with products just as we ship today for, high performance compute or just a standard data center application. I think the newest pieces, and I mentioned a minute ago, latest and greatest speed technologies and capacity. So PCI Gen 6 is certainly one. Some of the, the newest and latest drive technologies like the Hammer, heat assisted drives. And then the other new piece is we're seeing a lot of interest in having accelerators in non-server devices, whether that's JBODs or JBOFs with a DPU or GPU type system for acceleration, and also to have those devices connect to an Ethernet fabric, so a fabric attached storage infrastructure.
Where also this is coming into play is, so right now the hot product in storage is Gen 5 PCI, right? We're one of the first ones to come out with a Gen 5 working product, okay? And we're working with all the storage guys, all the media players to develop and bring this product to market. But we're also working with the software companies. There's a lot of there's large software companies that are that are part of this bundle, and this is where the channel guys like us, the white box manufacturers, and the software companies come together to create these solutions. Yeah. We're doing white papers with companies like XNOR. There's other ones that we're working with, and again, customers are looking outside what's available from a proprietary monolithic-based storage device and looking at modular storage with third-party software companies that kind of fit into this build-your-own world, and we're getting some success with that.
Yeah,
we really are.
And again, I think it's a key message, and we deal with a lot of software companies as well that don't want to be involved in hardware, don't have the capability, don't have a warehouse, and I think our combination can really help those. they can focus on what they're good at, the software piece. Let us manage,
And I think
the
that's
hardware.
key. That's a lot of customers are coming to us and saying, we don't want to hire people.
Right.
We want to stick to what we know best and
Yeah.
continue to execute in that place and let the experts help us and outsource that piece.
Yeah.
And between the three of us, I think we can help customers in that space to where they don't have to have the overhead and that expertise, which could take time to get them
Yeah.
to market. And that progression will last longer versus bringing us on board that can help us speed that up.
And again, I think that the combination of EPS Global and Celestica is very powerful in that regard. You guys can help them with the engineering piece. And a lot of these companies, as they're starting off, the volumes are not huge, but they need help in terms of the logistics. They need inventory available when they need it. They need help, shipping globally, shipping locally, and we're here to help them with all that piece of it. So that combination, I think, is very powerful and offers a lot of value to these types of customers.
There is a really, we have a good white paper around our Artemis box, the Gen 5 PCI box, a third-party software company, and a channel partner that put together a solution. And if they want, we can get customers access to that. It'd be great. It's a really good paper. It goes through the whole value prop, right? And it's these software companies are large companies. They're not small startups. They have a lot of money to spend, and they're working with. They're much bigger than everybody thinks.
And we can post a link to that white paper when we put the video out. We talked previously about overcoming the perceived skills gap in open networking by providing more turnkey solutions, and as well as the tyranny of choice that can often face newcomers to open networking. How does Celestica's partnership with EPS Global help to overcome those challenges?
I mean, I think it's some of what you mentioned before. People have different goals and are on a different journey, and it ranges from a bare metal piece of hardware that they want to get from us all the way up through turnkey with software and support from us. But if you kind of go back to the most basic model, a lot of these customers, they have a reason for wanting only one piece of our solution from us. Maybe they want software from somewhere else, but they may not, as you said, have logistics capability or a large enough business to get people interested. So, certainly one of the key things that we've seen in our engagement with EPS is, you guys are the ones behind the scenes that are putting those solutions together, testing, validating, shipping them, to the right locations. So that's one piece on the skills gap. I think the other, I think we touched on it the last time we talked, that's evolving quickly is the sort of skill sets and software tools to operate these networks once they're deployed. And certainly a lot of kind of Sonic in its original days, the network operating system for switches, was kind of built around DevOps principles. And a lot of traditional enterprises may not have staff on board that are skilled in DevOps. They might be more kind of network engineering folks, or conversely, they may be folks that are kind of maybe moving from a public cloud infrastructure back to an on-prem data center, and they want to use those DevOps tools. And some of our software ecosystem partners have those capabilities to allow them to do that without having to know the inner workings of protocol level details or Cisco CLI or
On the other side of this, we also, if you look at this list of software partners, we're both already working with them together. So that expertise is there that we can bring to the customer that, they're not going to get with the proprietary OEM-based networking solution, right? So I think that's a big part about this value propositions that we have together.
And I think, like to me, the evidence of that value add came in the meeting. So just prior to us recording this, we had a customer meeting where we sat and listened to the customer for an hour and a half, tell us what they need. And collaborating, we know that we can deliver to them exactly what it is they need, both from a technical perspective and from a logistics perspective as well. And to me, there's no more powerful evidence than hearing the customer and understanding that we can really help them.
To echo that, I think it's I had a conversation with a customer on Friday, and it's also the ability to be nimble. So understanding what the customer needs. I was talking to a customer where we were doing the whole solution with them, hardware, software validation, and the model shifted. We only want to be a software company. We've decided to not be a part of that hardware at all. However, we need you. And how can we do that? Well, we can do that with partners.
Yeah.
And that's what this model looks like. So it allows us to be nimble and flexible depending on what the customer needs. Absolutely.
And I think the key thing that I said there about the meeting is that we listened, right? And we talked a little about it, Devann, as we walked out of that meeting, that it's not a case of us telling the customer how this is going to work. It's us listening to the customer, understanding what they require, understanding the business model that they want. We can advise them what might work, but we don't dictate to them. They will tell us how they want the business, and we will figure out together a way to make this work for them. And I think that's a really key message. From our perspective as EPS Global, our partnership has been really, really strong. I'd like to hear, from Celestica's perspective, how has the role of a value-added partner like us become even more critical as customer solutions, and particularly for AI, as they become more complex and integrated?
For me, from a partner perspective, I don't think we can be successful without partners like you guys. Well, we build and we have the most amazing products and solutions and services and high quality and amazing engineers, and our, the value that Celestica brings to the table. We need our partners to allow us to move and be scalable. How can we move faster? How can we scale? How can we move beyond North America into global entities? And just the ability to be nimble, and value-added partners allow us to do that. And I don't think we can be successful without that.
If you look at where we're working with you guys, we're here in the U.S., right? In EMEA, now in India, right? That's hard to do. It's hard to find partners like that. And these solutions are in demand worldwide. It's not just, you don't have switches going out with Broadcom Sonic, for example, only in the U.S. You have it happening in India. You have it happening in EMEA. So this is where we work together and kind of
and hopefully after the couple of days that we have here, that we can see some traction in South America as well. And we've traditionally operated very well in countries that can be difficult to do business in, and it's a value that we bring to our partners, and hopefully we can start leveraging that as well.
I think just one other thought is technical capabilities,
Yeah.
which I think is definitely a bit different than somebody who's more transactional and logistics oriented. So.
Yeah, and I think, we all love George Sy. He was our technical director. He's celebrating 10 years with EPS Global, and prior to that, he was 16 years with another ODM. So he's over a quarter of a century in this space, in this white box space, and he's a great asset, I think, to all of us. And again, we saw that in the meeting that we had just before we came in here, that he's a trusted advisor to these guys. We're going to finish up with a question, and it's always very difficult to look into the crystal ball and see what's happening, but let's try that. And looking ahead 2 to 3 years, what do you believe will be the single most significant disruption or change in how data center infrastructure is designed and deployed, and where will EPS Global and Celestica fit into that?
From my perspective, selling with you guys in the market, it's definitely going to be networking products. It's going to be, as we move into this next generation of networking, which is liquid cooling switches, right? I mean, that's going to be a solution sell, because you can't just sell a switch anymore. You need to sell a switch that has a special rack, that has liquid cooling, that has cables, so this is where our relationship together is going to be critical to getting the right solutions that work to the enterprise customers. That's the point of buy-in by them. It's not going to be us just selling a switch. It's us selling this new technology. And I think 2026 is going to be one of the biggest years for this new technology to come out, because that's when we all start shipping liquid cooling based products.
Liquid cooling based, 1.6, the latest and greatest technology being first to market, I think is going to allow us to be well positioned from an AI perspective.
Yeah, just talking about the 1.6. So I was at the AI Infra Summit last week, and sneakily got a photograph of a 1.6 terabit box that you guys are bringing out, and posted it on LinkedIn, and was inundated with comments, with people directly messaging me, asking me about it. It's very, very exciting, and I think next year should be a huge year for that box.
It should be a huge year. I mean, the demand is, we are getting asked about that box on a daily basis. And so,
Just thinking back to the way you phrased the original question, what's the single most disruptive? I think it's probably two. One is just the performance needed, which is obvious, right? Everybody talks about that. And just kind of going back to what Don said, it's really all about power, right? So the power is driving the need for liquid cooling. The power is driving the need for new alternative optical technologies, CPO, onboard copper. All of those things are trying to solve the power problem that's created because of the performance problem. So to me, it's like those two things are kind of at the root of all of this next gen data center AI technology.
We participate in a lot of shows, right? OCP, ONUG, all these different shows. There's a lot of POCs going on right now, a lot. I mean, more so than I've ever seen in my career, that everybody's looking at this, how do I take this next step specifically with networking because of AI, but it's really, I've never seen a value proposition of a product have that much kind of POC interest, right? So we were in Japan and about 2 months ago, and the whole talk was we need to have better power management in our products because federal governments are asking for this, the whole environmental play behind this. And again, this is why I believe 2026 in liquid cooling technology is really going to change this paradigm on what we deliver for solutions, right? And this is where we come together, right? The idea of just selling a switch to throw into a rack is not going to work anymore. We need to sell a switch that goes into a rack that has liquid cooling, that has special optics, that has whatever, right? That make this thing work as a turnkey solution. This is going to be key from all of us being successful, right? Over the past couple of years that I've been in the business, the main issue was service, right? Having the right serviceability on products, getting services help around Sonic. Now this is all going to push to now we need to have the right solution that has services, that has the right product, because this is changing how we deploy, right? And I think this is going to be a really big year for that, 2026.
No, I agree, and I think my analysis. I've been with EPS Global now for 16 years, and we've been active in open networking for 12 years. I've never been as excited as I am right now, and I think what makes me particularly excited is the partnership that we have with Celestica. I think we're all positioned to succeed, and I think that the market timing, the dynamics they're all lining up very well, and I think 2026 will be a huge year for all of us and beyond.
I agree. I mean, between our innovative solutions and products and then your ability to provide value-added services to our customers, I think it's going to be huge.
Yeah, and the more we talk to customers, the more I hear that, because I get that back from them, that they see the value in what we're doing. So it's a very exciting time. So thanks again, guys. Really appreciate it, and thank you for the partnership.
Thank you.